To be fair, she's 69 and she ran on criticizing Israel because it's so unpopular. Yeah, okay, she's 69 years old and was pro-Israel until this last election where she had to literally flip her positions. And then in a panic state, Hakeem Jeffries took a bunch of AIPAC donations and hid it under subsidiaries so that they could still funnel money into Valerie Fouché directly from pro-Israel groups. I know, it's fucking insane. It's insane how indecent and how undemocratic the Democratic Party actually fucking is. When you learn about how fucked up this process is, it's very difficult to still to still believe that we will ever achieve anything through electoralism. That's why my goal through electoralism is not necessarily to make the necessary changes in this country, because obviously it's not going to fucking happen that way, but more so to funnel popularity into outside organizations so we can build outside power to, one, hold politicians to account, and two, maybe even potentially build a third party down the line. Big day today. I got some good news. New Illinois 9 poll from M3 Strategies among voters who already cast ballots by mail or early in person. Kat Abu-Ghazaleh leads Daniel Biss at 29.5%, Daniel Biss at 26.2%, Laura Fine at 19.7%, Phil Andrew at 7.9%, Mike Simmons at 6.6%, Bushra Amiwala at 5.1%. And that's right. Looking good for the early voters. Hopefully, this is a good sign for the night. Obviously, a lot of these polls do not adequately look at voter participation from the youth vote, which Kat Abu-Ghazaleh cleans up. Okay? Who knows what will happen in Evanston, but Abu-Ghazaleh winning would be close to a Tea Party moment, more so if she knocked off an incumbent, but Biss is pretty close to one. Lots of her voters would have voted for him at some point. A media figure with no experience in elected office who moved to the district yesterday and will almost certainly finish in the top 2 in a contested primary. Yeah, win or lose, it's a fucking testament to how much the conversation has shifted. And I think the youth vote is consistently undersampled, and she has a lot of momentum in the youth vote in general. So we'll see. Only win, no lose. I agree. As polls close in Illinois, here's a briefing on what to expect tonight. Illinois is one of the most challenging states for election reporting. There's no centralized statewide system. Results are administered and reported by 100+ local election authorities, including several municipalities that operate independently from their counties, which is highly unusual. Illinois is a state where voters utilize all 3 ballot types, AB, absentee mail, early voting, early in person, and ED, in-person election day at pretty sizable rates. 100% of precincts reporting can be misleading. Many jurisdictions prioritize election day votes first, typically 55 to 65% of the total, but it can vary a lot. While early voting and vote by mail ballots are added later, sometimes hours or even days afterwards. VBM is especially consequential. Ballots postmarked by election day can arrive up to 14 days later, and large jurisdictions like Chicago often take significantly longer to fully tabulate and report these votes. History underscores the risk of premature conclusions. In 2014 state treasurer race, Republican Tom Cross led roughly 20,000 votes on election night, only for Democrat Mike Frericks to ultimately win by about 9,200 votes after late mail ballots were included. And right at the moment, at the top of the hour, there is no ad break, but the polls have officially closed, ladies and gentlemen. Polls are closed in the state of Illinois, and the numbers will be coming in. We are going to be tuning into Kernacki Cam to see where he is at. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to support the show, the broadcast, the Piker Broadcasting Service is sponsored by you, the viewers, for you, the viewers. Please subscribe to the Piker Broadcasting Service, ladies and gentlemen, as we go on into primary night.
That is the Democratic primary for the United States Senate. It is an open seat being vacated by Democrat Dick Durbin. The 3 leading Democrats you see right there. Of course, Illinois being a blue state, the winner of this primary tonight is expected overwhelmingly
gifted, anonymous gifted, thank you for the 5 gifted.
The next United States Senator
thank you
from
for the 5
Illinois. We will be keeping an eye on that race. Obviously, first and foremost throughout the night, but it is just one of several competitive contests and consequential contests we're going to be monitoring, we're going to be tracking. You see here some of the marquee House races tonight. Illinois' 2nd District. The headline there, Jesse Jackson Jr., just weeks after his father, the civil rights leader's passing at the age of 84, he attempts a political comeback. Jackson Jr. had left the House in scandal in 2012. 14 years later, he is seeking to win back the congressional seat that he once represented. Elsewhere in Cook County, in Chicago and the Chicago suburbs, the race for the 7th congressional district in Illinois. This is a seat being vacated by Danny Davis. Danny Davis has been in the House for nearly 30 years. And again, overwhelmingly likely that the winner of tonight's primary will replace Davis in the House. In the 8th district here, this is a congressional seat being vacated by Raja Krishnamurthy as he runs for the United States Senate. Another comeback attempt, Melissa Bean. Do you remember that name? She was in the House from 2004 until 2010. She was thrown out in the Republican wave of 2010. Can she get her seat back 16 years later? And this one has gotten a lot of national attention. This is the far north side of Chicago, Evanston, into those suburbs.
Yeah, every leftist coalition, leftist progressive coalition in the U.S. is the same. Zoran, Tallarico, and now Kat all have that same condition. The same coalition, which is spelled the victory condition. For the most part, Crosstabs' Illinois 9 poll shows Abu Ghazaleh is basically winning the Mamdani-Tallarico coalition. She leads with men, 34%, 18 to 30-year-olds at 53%, Hispanics at 35%, Asian Americans at 29%, whites at 29% versus Biss's 28%. That's right. This is the Zoran coalition that allowed him to win. This was the Tallarico condition that allowed him to win. And hopefully this might be a W men moment. That's right. What's interesting about the Kat Abu Ghazaleh Daniel Biss matchup is that a lot of the elderly white women in the suburbs actually really like Daniel Biss. A lot of white women that make up the backbone of the Democratic Party, alongside black women as well, certainly. But a lot of older white women actually really fuck with Daniel Biss, which has allowed Daniel Biss to win over Kat Abu Ghazaleh in the female tabs. Straight up, W men, L women is what I say. I'm kidding, of course, but Mike said that the right needs male voters, but all male voters are fleeing towards anti-APAC candidates. That the NC needs to figure something out by 2028, and by figure out, drop ICE reel. Yes. Frank Calabrese says, remember, folks, this is a poll of only people who have voted already, so that favors candidates with high energy support. Obviously, Kat here, but Daniel Biss is very much in this. Yes. The proxy battle for tonight. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict has been a major divide in the Democratic Party, but today's Illinois primaries may be the clearest proxy battle yet for APAC-aligned and anti-APAC groups. I'll be updating this graphic throughout the night. APAC supported Donna Miller, Melissa Conyers-Irvin, Melissa Bean, and Laura Fine. Track APAC endorsed, on the other hand, however, is Robert Peters, Keena Collins, Junaid Ahmed, and Kat Abu Ghazaleh. Track APAC doing the Lord's work. The Y moms have a biz kink. That's funny. All right, let's see.
Now, okay, so folks, if you've been watching this, you know News Now, our streaming channel, is doing they're in their live show right now. We're going to check in with them throughout the night. They want to come to me in about a minute. You're going to get to watch that. So I'm going to sort of set the lay of the land with them a bit when I come back. We'll talk more about this. I'll just say again in the 30 seconds or so before we got to go do that hit. This is a very interesting result because one of the key questions tonight, all of the candidates have ties right here. Who's winning down here? Interesting that Stratton gets a pretty good early number there. Well, Gotti, I think one of the things here is the polls just closed here. Most of the action in this Senate race is going to come out of Chicago and the suburbs right around Chicago. I mean, when I say most, I'm talking like 80% of the vote is going to come roughly from where I just circled there on the map. But we do have a result here from downstate. This is from St. Clair County. This is just outside St. Louis. East St. Louis is here, among other cities and towns. It's an interesting result, though, because I think one of the questions has been, if the race is competitive right there in the Chicagoland area, who's winning in the race?
The American people are tired of women.
Rest of the state. Krishnamurthy has spent the most money. Congressman Krishnamurthy has spent the most money on ads around the state, but at least here in St. Clair County, with about a third of the vote, you see Juliana Stratton, the lieutenant governor, who's endorsed by J.B. Pritzker, who's the governor. Pritzker, through his super PAC, has put a lot of money on behalf of Stratton. She actually does lead Krishnamurthy here, but I think it's an interesting result because it shows those two candidates here, when you get well outside of where most of the votes are going to come from, those two candidates so clearly separated from the third candidate, Congresswoman Robin Kelly. So again, I think there was a sense here in the days leading up to this vote, Gadi, that this race perhaps was becoming more of a two-way race than a three-way race. At least in this one initial result, that might be something. There might be something to that.
It's so interesting, and so interesting to hear all of the money that has been spent in this race. Again,
Juliana Stratton is not great either, unfortunately. That race is cooked.
Low turnout primary, and yet one that has implications that are so big. And yet, when we hear low turnout, like how many votes are we expecting today, and how soon could things get called?
Yeah, I think one of the things here, unfortunately, you know, I say here, Illinois is tends to be one of the slower counting states. So, you know, we're keep an open mind here. We're always hoping with these things they get a little bit faster as they go along. But in terms of fully knowing how many votes were cast here and what the turnout looked like, you know, we might not have a good sense of that until tomorrow, until a few days from now. I think what we're hoping for tonight, though, is that you get enough of the vote in that it becomes clear who's going to win these races. This race, obviously, this Democratic race for the U.S. Senate, whoever wins this, given how blue Illinois is, the overwhelming favorite to win the Senate seat in November. Also a number of congressional races here throughout the state. Again, we hope tonight that there's enough result that it's clear who's going to win those races, even though it does sometimes take them. It can take them days to count all the votes in Illinois.
Holy
We'll see. And we'll be watching you for days then. Steve Kornacki, thank you so very much.
Got it. All right. So, again, we'll check in throughout the night. Always fun to join Gadi and appreciate them humoring us with balancing it with this. So, again, I just want to talk a little bit about the result we have here. And, again, you heard me there saying Illinois can be a bit slow with the vote counting. That can especially be true in Cook County, where Chicago is, the city of Chicago and the suburbs outside of Cook County. So let's maybe just tell you a little bit here, big picture about the sort of the lay of the land statewide and how this one initial result maybe fits into that a little bit here. So again, the three main candidates, if you're watching this, you probably know Raja Krishnamurthy, Congressman. All three candidates really have their political base right in and outside Chicago. Krishnamurthy represents a district that's based in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Robin Kelly is a congresswoman whose district, you know, really is rooted here sort of in the south side of Chicago and then down into the Cook County suburbs. But really, we're talking about this part of the state right here. Krishnamurthy sort of represents a district about right here. Kelly's district, it actually stretches pretty far south because Illinois is a very gerrymandered state. Some of these districts are very funny. But most of the population in Kelly's district is right here. So basically, this is Kelly, right? This is Krishnamurthy's district, okay? And then Stratton is the lieutenant governor, okay? So that she's a statewide figure that way. But before she was the lieutenant governor, she was a member of the Illinois state legislature, and her district was in the city of Chicago. So again, all three with their political roots right there. Now, look at it this way. Let me reset this. Cook County right here, where Chicago is, right? Cook County has 5.2 million residents. Okay, this is one of the
He's not
largest.
wrong. Illinois is the best at disenfranchising Republicans, which is based. Support, no complaints here. Yeah. Well, who'd you back for Senate? These candidates, I mean, these are the two top contenders, and Juliana Stratton, from what I understand, is actually better than Raja. However, Juliana Stratton is also really terrible on Israel. So there's no, like, it's not great.
Come from Chicago tonight, then from the burbs. But look, this state is massive, right? There are 102 counties here. Probably 35% of all the votes that are cast in this Democratic primary for U.S. Senate tonight are going to come from the city of Chicago, right? So just part of Cook County that I circled right there. A third of the vote or more is going to come from that city. The suburban portion of Cook County, okay, you're still in that county, but you're not in the city of Chicago, that's probably going to produce a quarter of the vote statewide tonight, right? 25%. So I think between just Chicago and its immediate inner suburbs in Cook County, you're looking at about 60% of the vote. I see we got one more result that just came in here. We'll take a look at this in a minute here, but I want to just set the lay of the land before we get into it. Don't worry, we're not missing anything that's going to settle the election on the spot right here. And in fact, if we go through this, you might appreciate the rest of it a little bit more. Now, take a look at the collar counties that are right outside Chicago. Okay,
are they
there
dumping?
are 5 counties that actually abut Cook County, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. There's 20% more of the vote is going to come out of the collar counties that are just outside of Cook County. So 80% of the vote tonight. We think 8 out of 10 votes are going to come either from Cook County or from one of the 5 collar counties that abut Cook County. All right. The rest of the state, all of this is going to add up to 20% of the vote. OK, so and again, all the candidates have roots right here in Chicago. Now, the question when you get outside Chicago has been this. Krishnamurthy, he had raised like $20 million before this race even started. I mean, he's been in Congress for a little while now. He has been eyeing a statewide campaign. He's like a fundraising machine. So he brought a ton of money into this race, and he started running ads. He's brought more ads around the state than anybody else. He started them earlier. He's done them more aggressively. So there's been a sense that maybe when you get outside of this Chicago area here, Krishnamurthy would have an advantage, okay? Now, one thing that has complicated that, as I mentioned in that hit a minute ago, late in the race, J.B. Pritzker, the governor, he's endorsed Stratton, the lieutenant governor. His super PAC, Pritzker's, he's a billionaire. His super PAC has poured millions of dollars in late behind
that makes
Stratton.
Sense, because this was
here.
like...
So in the final weeks on the air, it's kind of been neutralized between these two. And Stratton has been running, a very sort of aggressive activist. The message is it's a very strident anti-Trump, anti-ICE message here. Really kind of going to the left and really kind of going towards voters. You see in some of these polls that voters want in the Democratic Party, don't like the party leadership, want really dramatic change. She's really trying to tap into that. So the question was, if in the final, few weeks of the campaign, with the money that came in for Stratton, was she getting closer to Krishnamurthy? And one way to measure that, I think, would be get outside of this area where all the candidates have a political base. What's resonating outside of there? So we showed you St. Clair County, about a third of the vote. Again, this has one of the larger black populations of any county, proportionally, of any county in Illinois. And you see Stratton there leading, at least early on, about a third of the vote right there. The other county we're now getting is McLean County. And this is interesting because McLean County is one of the most liberal counties in Illinois. This is the home. Normal, Illinois is here. Illinois State University is here. Bloomington, Illinois is here. We're also getting, as you can see, about 16% of the vote here. So it's not a ton, but it's interesting that what you're seeing is a tie between Stratton and Krishnamurthy. And again, you think about the message that Stratton has been sort of leaning into here in the final weeks of the campaign, the money that has backed that. This is a pretty liberal county politically, high concentration. There's college students here, but also high concentration of college degrees. And she's right there with Krishnamurthy here, and she's a little bit ahead of him right now in St. Clair County. So we've got results now from 2 counties, 2 decent-sized counties, well outside of that Chicagoland area, where you're clearly seeing a race here between Stratton and Krishnamurthy. And again, Kelly sort of left in the dust right here. I think there'd been some expectation here leading up to this, leading up to tonight, that just based on the money stuff we were just talking about, that might be the case. You're certainly seeing that with how Kelly is coming in right here. So again, 80% is going to come in from right here. We're in that sort of 20%.
I still don't think we're going to find anything yet. Like, there's going to be nothing. We covered the Junaid Ahmed election. Yes. I'm waiting on that too. There was there were a lot of DSA endorsed candidates in the Illinois races, in the Illinois primaries. There was Bernie endorsements that came in. We got obviously our own with Kat Abu-Ghazali as well. I mean, I endorse whoever the fucking DSA endorse as well, obviously, but do that D thing you do is disgusting. Stop.
Other
Shut the
counties
fuck up.
on the map here, if she sustains that. But I think an interesting beginning in this Senate race. So reset statewide, that's what it looks like with those 2 votes that have come in. We're obviously going to continue to monitor this. As we do, we're going to take you through now some of the House races here, just set them up a little bit more, what we're looking at here on the House side tonight. We're looking at, this is our headline race. Who's going to win this Democratic primary for the United States Senate in Illinois and in all likelihood become the next senator from the state of Illinois. The congressional races here, took you through them a second ago, but now we can dive a little deeper into it.
We want Robert Peters in Illinois
District of Illinois.
2.
This is where Jesse Jackson is attempting his political comeback tonight. Okay, and you can see Jesse Jackson His main competition is expected to come from Donna Miller. She's a Cook County commissioner. Although Robert Peters, he is a state senator from the city of Chicago. He's also a significant factor in this race. And there are other candidates on the ballot here, too. Willie Preston, also a state senator in particular. But there are a number of candidates. You know, openings, congressional openings in a state like Illinois do not come around that often. So when they do, there's super high interest in these races.
How's Jesse Jackson Jr.? I don't know enough about his policies or his politics. I do know that he went to prison.
Democrats nationally like to point to Texas and say, look, the Republicans in Texas, look at all the gerrymandering they did. And the Republicans like to fire back and say, well, look what the Democrats did in Illinois. I mean, they're both sort of trying to do the same thing, and that is take very big states that tilt one side politically, and they're each trying to squeeze as much as they possibly can out for their party in these congressional maps. And so what you see here in Illinois, a lot of these districts, I mean, you could probably get a sense of it just looking at the screen right here. A lot of these districts are very oddly shaped. What the Democrats essentially try to do here in the 2nd District of Illinois is it's geographically vast. Okay, a lot of this, though, is Republican territory here. I mean, you're talking about, like, you're in Danville, Illinois. This is Danville, Illinois right here. You're like 2.5 hours from Chicago, right? This is 120 miles, south of Chicago. I mean, it's night and day between these two places. But so what the Democrats did was they connected this sort of, a lot of this is rural, a lot of this is heavily Republican. They're geographically expansive counties. And the Democrats basically took densely populated, overwhelmingly Democratic territory in the city of Chicago and in the immediate inner Cook suburbs. That's what you see right here. And they connected it as far south and as far west as they can while maintaining this as a strong, overwhelmingly Democratic district, which it is. But it's a long way of saying, if you look at this whole map of this district, okay, right here, 90% of the vote in this district tonight is going to come out of this little sliver right here. That's the city of Chicago and the inner suburbs of Cook County. 90%. Everything else is going to account for 10%. So we're looking at obviously it's a very consequential race here, but we may see counties light up. We haven't really seen anything until we start to see Cook County come in here. So, and when Cook County does start to come in, we will go through some of the sort of permutations here about where each of the candidates wants to be running strong here and what that might mean. But again, just to give you a sense of it, this is a strongly Democratic district. It is a district that really is anchored in Chicago and Cook County. It's drawn this way.
Robert
so the
Peters
Democrats are just trying to draw.
So Robert Peters was endorsed by Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and the Progressive Caucus. The AIPAC candidate in that race is Donna Miller, and Bobby Rush endorsed Jesse Jackson Jr. The AIPAC has dumped $1.4 million to Jackson Jr. AIPAC has dumped $4.3 million in the direction of Miller. And the cryptocurrency PAC spent almost $1 million against Peters. Obviously, we want Peters to win, but all of the powerful financial forces are very aggressively against Peters, unfortunately. And in this race, we're pushing for Junaid Ahmed.
Okay, look at that. I'm sitting here telling you about DuPage. We got Kane County. Okay, so we got half the vote in a chunk of the 8th district right here. And again, remember, this is Melissa Bean, former congresswoman. She's trying to make a political comeback. Her main challenger tonight, you see here, Junaid Ahmed. He's running to the left. He's got an endorsement from Bernie Sanders, from the Justice Democrats. He had challenged Krishnamurthy in a primary. He lost, I think, 70 to 30 points. He's coming back here. So that's sort of the dynamic here. Bean has been backed by, there's some pro-Israel money that's come in on her side. That's sort of the divide between these two candidates. Okay, so Kane County is interesting. It is, in this district, 25% of the vote. Sorry about that. Let me get that back. Adam, do you know what I just did here? There it is. Okay. I don't know what I just did to make that happen. So in the 8th district, Kane County, where we just got a chunk of the vote, 25% of the vote is going to come right here from Kane County. 25% is going to come from DuPage County, and 50% is going to come from Cook County. When Ahmed ran against Krishnamurthy for this seat in the primary, he got blown out pretty much everywhere. His best county His best county was Kane County. Okay, Kane County, like Elgin, Illinois is here. This has a larger Hispanic population relative to the rest of the district here. So this was Ahmed's best county when he ran and lost. And you can see right now, again, this is with about half the vote in, I should just call it in, with about half the vote in Kane County, Bean is leading solidly there by 13 points. So that's a good start for Melissa Bean as she attempts this political comeback. But again, that's one piece of the puzzle. DuPage County, Cook County, these are suburbs of Chicago here. Let's see what happens when those come in. But okay, so we do have some result there. Let's also see what that means in the race for the United States Senate. If we've got Kane County in a House race, we've got Kane County vote. Here we go in the Senate race. Okay, now remember, I was just telling you, this is Raja Krishnamurthy's district that you're seeing this in. So Krishnamurthy is getting a big number here, more than a 20-point margin over Stratton, but he's supposed to. This is the heart of his district. He's been elected here a number of times. He's done very well in Kane County. When he was challenged by Ahmed in that primary, he got about 64%, 65% of the vote in Kane County. So he's getting 53% here, well ahead of Stratton. But I do think it's notable, too, that you're seeing Stratton get 30% of the vote here. Again, this speaks to the separation that Stratton, with all that money that came in at the end for her, the separation she clearly has attained here from Robin Kelly, the third candidate in the race. Remember, we saw this outside. We saw this downstate. Now we're seeing it in the Chicagoland area as well. Stratton just far separated from Kelly. Krishnamurthy is going to want to be doing really well tonight in DuPage County. He's going to want to be doing really well, as he is in Kane County, in the northwest suburbs of Cook County. That's his district. That's where he wants to be winning tonight, winning by large margins tonight. For Stratton, I think it's more about the city of Chicago itself. Remember, Chicago's going to cast 35% of the vote. Okay, Chicago versus the Cook County suburbs. Chicago has a larger concentration of black voters than the Cook suburbs, so it's more demographically conducive to Stratton. You're seeing in St. Clair County, again, where there's a large black population. She's off to a very good start right there. So again, Krishnamurthy doing what he's expected to do in Kane. One thing we want to see tonight, obviously, Stratton, once we start getting votes from Chicago itself in Cook County, how's she doing there?
Come on, man.
We are getting also, again, these are going to be some very small counties here, but just take a look downstate. And again, remember, so little of the vote tonight is going to come from downstate. And especially when you get outside of, this is St. Clair and Madison County. This is Metro East, Illinois outside St. Louis. These are pretty good-sized counties. When you get outside that, though, in a Democratic primary, there just isn't a ton down here. I mean, look, again, we're talking about 200.
I hate waiting. I fucking can't stand waiting like this, bro. I have no idea where they're dumping from. But Cook started off with BIS +5. Cook County District 9. Cook County District 9 has officially started with BIS +5 over Laura Fine. Okay? That could just be from Evanston, where BIS was mayor. Could be the case. Southern Illinois dumps first. No one lives there. Okay, stop the steal. Count the votes. Count the votes. Count the votes. Count the votes. This is bad dump. Bad dump. Not a good dump.
Okay, that's also all the vote that's in district-wide. But I want to take you through the political geography of the 9th, because that's going to put this in context, what you're looking at here. We think that about 45% of the vote that's going to be cast in the 9th district tonight, okay, is from the Chicago portion of Cook County, okay? So the far north side, okay, is the far north side of Chicago is in this district, uptown neighborhood. It's a lot of votes right there. About 45% of all the votes in this district are going to come from Chicago. Another 45% are going to come from the Cook burbs, okay? And the other 10%, there are small, about 10%, there are portions, small portions of 2 other counties that are in this district. Well, that's going to be the other 10%. But this is the division that I want to talk about right now. Chicago, Cook County versus the burbs in Cook County. Because take a look at what you're seeing. BIS, okay, BIS and Abu-Ghazaleh and fine here. Abu-Ghazaleh running a distant third, okay? The key, we think, for Abu-Ghazaleh tonight to win is the city of Chicago.
Yeah!
younger voters there, the sort of voters she's targeted. She's expected to do best in the city of Chicago, okay, and not as well in the suburbs and not as well in the outlying counties. So you see her running in third place right now. There's a lot of money that came in here against her as well, but we don't have any votes from the city of Chicago yet. So this 18%, the context we need for this.
It's been a very poor 18 and 24-year-old turnout today. Wait, what? Where? What? No. Start the steal.
Enough to change it. So that's the question for Abba Ghazaleh in this race. What's going to happen in the city of Chicago? Conversely, okay, Daniel Biss is expected to do better in the burbs than in the city of Chicago, okay? Fine is also expected to do better in the burbs than in the city of Chicago, you see? So this is where they were, this is sort of where specifically in the burbs this vote is coming from is key, just based on they each have some very local strengths here, and that we don't know. But we do know that it's coming from the suburbs, which in general is supposed to be the better area for Biss, supposed to be the better area for Fine, and not supposed to be as strong for Abba Ghazaleh. So that's what we have right now in the 9th. Huge question here is going to be when you start seeing the city of Chicago, if it complicates that picture at all.
If you want to go back to the Senate race, I think we have started getting in some city of Chicago results.
Okay, we are. We're clearly getting... Yeah, look at this now. We're looking at the Cook vote here, and remember, this is a mix of city and suburbs.
Will save
we
us.
looked at this a minute ago. Krishnamurthy was leading Stratton by 3 points. We've gotten more vote in from Chicago now, and as Adam said, he thinks that we've gotten vote in from the city of Chicago now, as Adam just said, and look at that. Stratton now leading in Cook County over Krishnamurthy. Let me ask Adam, in the city of Chicago, what's the break between Stratton and Krishnamurthy?
In the city of Chicago?
Yeah. Because this is, again, Stratton probably needs to be winning Chicago by a solid margin. Krishnamurthy wants the suburbs. So we're getting Chicago vote and trying to figure out what that spread is she's leading by.
Yeah, so in Chicago, we have about 65,000 votes. She's getting 42%. Krishnamurthy's getting 26.
And that's with about 65,000 votes counted.
That's correct.
Okay, wow. So, I mean, again, there's going to be a lot more to come from Chicago, but right away, that's a...
She's in third place at 39%. Yeah, this doesn't mean anything because it's entirely dependent on like which areas that the votes are coming from. HasanAbi is no longer in the 1824. 1824 is always low. Listen to that chat. The question is millennial turnout. We saw the same thing with Zoran. Kat was polling well with everyone under 46. That's the young voter. Yeah. Once again, the largest chunk of voters for this race is going to come from Chicago, where Kat is outperforming expectations. So we'll see. Not really, because she's not going to sweep enough in the remaining 60% probably. We don't know that. We don't know that. Okay? It's not looking too great so far, though. But are you mad at me? Why would I be mad at you? It's spring break. They're stealing the elections. Yeah.
County here. And again, I think those results are skewed a little bit more towards the suburbs.
Yeah. Right now, it's skewed more towards the suburbs, and we just got some more in. And yeah, I mean, the last number I gave you was with those new numbers, and we're up to 100.
And we just got a whole bunch more. And these numbers have been good for Stratton, I have to say. That's my reaction to them. What did we just get?
We just got more Chicago.
Okay, so...
about double their Chicago vote.
So we now have like 130,000 votes in Chicago.
Yep.
Tell me now what Chicago looks like.
So Chicago's now 43 Stratton, 25 Krishnamurthy.
Oh, my goodness. Did we get any more from the Cook burbs while this was going on?
No, we're about
okay.
there.
And, okay, now we have enough vote that we can ask this. So 38, 36 in the burbs. So we think it's about 130,000 votes in Chicago?
Yes.
Okay, and about how many in the suburbs?
172.
So it's still more skewed to the suburbs.
That's right.
Wow, okay. So again, remembering what we're talking about here, that the more vote, you think, ultimately comes out of the city of Chicago than the suburbs, and yet, even though it's flipped right now, much more is coming out of the suburbs than the city. Stratton is leading. She's doing that well in Chicago. I think if you're a Stratton supporter, that's very encouraging news for you. I'm just seeing we did get another significant pocket of votes that came in here. This is Winnebago County. This is where the city of Rockford is. Again,
Suburban
just a little bit
Cook
more than
looks good for
15% of the
Biz.
vote right there. Krishnamurthy here with a pretty solid lead in the early vote. Again, this is it's pretty good size geographically. It's pales in comparison to what we're talking about here in Cook, in those immediate collar counties around Cook. But still, this is probably about 1% of the vote here on the Democratic side tonight. Okay, what does it look like statewide? Stratton leads statewide right now by about 12,000 votes over Krishnamurthy.
It's all the
Did
same.
we get any more from? I can check myself. We have no more from Kane. I saw a little bit came in here. Kankakee County. Again, this is Kankakee. This is very, very small here. Why is Robin Kelly leading here? This is in her congressional district.
I know Kankakee from, took her to the O. She from Kankakee, right? Isn't that from that song? King Von. That was the most Naperville moment. 54% votes in New York Times. Now still third, but close to second. I don't think these are, I don't think the 54% of votes, but it's like primarily coming from the Cook County. I'm dead. I did not think you'd know that song. What do you mean? Of course I know the song. It's a fucking, King Von was a wordsmith, man. Don't embrace the burb, baby. Yeah, got a stripper's chick. She from Kankakee. And he was a serial killer too. True. Also a poet.
Late spending for Stratton and the talk that Stratton had brought momentum here into primary day, and that maybe her the late push on Stratton's behalf had come at the expense of Kelly. I think that's sort of bearing out in the results that you're looking at right here. Again, those are awfully encouraging numbers for Stratton out of Chicago. And again, if she could ever be winning, she's leading the vote count in Cook County right now. If she could ever win Cook County, remember that's about 60% of the vote statewide. And again, we also saw earlier when we first came on the air, we said, look, what happened in McLean County here? So far, it's 16% of the vote, but Stratton's running dead even with Krishnamurthy. Again, this is a pretty liberal county politically, and down in St. Clair County, Stratton is leading with about a third of the vote that is tallied there so far. So she is showing strength.
Looks like Biz is in great shape in Illinois.
Outside
is only winning Chicago City.
Outside
early
of
day
the
vote
city
by
of Chicago,
5.5%
outside
right now.
of
That's not going to be enough.
Cook County itself, and extends out of Chicagoland, extends into downstate. So that's a recipe for a competitive showing by Stratton. I'm lingering on this for a second because I think that was sort of the foundational question coming into tonight.
Not good, boys.
I think, this race has really been going on for like a year right now since Durbin announced he wasn't going to run for re-election. And I think all last spring, summer, fall, and into this winter, Krishnamurthy was seen as the pretty clear favorite in this race. Again, he came into this race. I think the day he announced his candidacy, he already had $20 million on hand. He was on the airwaves early. One of the things his campaign was doing was they were spending outside of Chicago. They were spending down here, I think, in anticipation of some of these dynamics we're talking.
Stupid. This has nothing to do with her foreign policy. This has nothing to do with Michael from Pennsylvania. This has absolutely nothing to do with anyone other than the fact that there was an unlimited amount of money spent on these races. This was always going to be an incredibly tough hill to climb, and it's just money. The Taiwan discourse didn't help. No, it's utterly irrelevant. You guys think your fucking farts are the most important, most consequential aspect of a fucking race like this. Straight up inconsequential, okay? Unimaginably inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. You're talking about a fucking Democratic primary race with like multiple millions of dollars being launched both for and against certain candidates. Like Anna Lilia Mejia won not because she was not just because she was the best candidate, right? She won because AIPAC fucked up and dumped a shitload of money against Milanowski, showing everybody that Tom Milanowski was not sufficiently anti-ICE. No, this is a huge difference. Who's this person in second place? Is she good? What? No, that's the AIPAC candidate. The fuck? No, the person in second place is Laura Fine. AIPAC spent millions of dollars propping her up. How the fuck do you think she's sitting with 23.3%? Taiwan is way more important outside of this community. All the crypto and AI bros are obsessed with it. Yeah, you guys are all unimaginably locked in on total minutia. Yeah. If she loses, it's because Biz has been a politician here for a very long time, got support from the Progressive Caucus and Elizabeth Warren. She was kind of cooked because there were too many progressives. That and also because the AIPAC dumped a fuckload of money against her, close to the finish line. Yeah, now she's moved up to the second place status here with 74% of votes coming in, but it's not going to be enough to make up for the distance between her and Daniel Biss. That's why I was like not focusing on the Taiwan shit at all. Do we like Daniel Biss? No, Daniel Biss is you know, he's just going to be a fucking weak, feckless, liberal, progressive adjacent candidate. On the issue of Israel, he is we got to keep giving money to Israel for defensive weapons. He couldn't call it a genocide. It's just, but once again, you're underestimating the amount of people here who really do consider Kat a carpetbagger. Ugh, I don't give a fuck about that. This is a Democratic Party primary, for the record. So, of course, there's not going to be a lot of turnout in general. But yeah, I don't think that there's enough votes in Chicago that are going to allow Kat Abou-Exalik to win this race out of nowhere. Amawala has 4,000 votes right now. Okay, that still wouldn't make up for the distance between Kat and Daniel, though. Do you see? Seven-point gap is a lot.
Kelly at 20.
And we think how many votes is that?
219.
And what do we think the expected is there?
We have that about 68% in.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, so look, I think the numbers speak for themselves, but no one ever accused. I'll beat it to death anyway, but this is very significant. We have about 34,000 more votes that have come in from the suburbs than have come in from the city of Chicago. But again, the city of Chicago is going to cast more votes than the suburbs. Okay, so and you can see in the suburbs, that's where Krishnamurthy is running in first, barely. He's only ahead by a point, but he's running in first, and he has. Okay, like you talk about, if he's trying to squeeze as much as he can out of the suburbs, right? That sponge is starting to get a little dry. A lot more vote is counted in the suburbs than in Chicago. So there's not as much left for Krishnamurthy. He's barely winning it, right? Now go into Chicago, and Krishnamurthy's barely holding off Kelly for second. Meanwhile, there's Stratton running laps around both of them, 18-point margin for her in Chicago. And if she's trying to squeeze the most she can out of the city of Chicago, she's got a lot more in that sponge to squeeze out from Chicago than Krishnamurthy might in the suburbs. So you're seeing overall in Cook County right now an 8-point advantage for Stratton, just based on those, sort of broad categories we just put up on the screen. There is the potential there for that to get a lot better for Stratton than for Krishnamurthy. And again, this is 60% of the vote. Statewide, I can't underscore. There's very few states where we can just look at one county and it can be that singularly important. And that's the story with Cook. So that's Cook. This is statewide. I think you saw these numbers a minute ago. And that advantage that Stratton is getting out of Cook, again, that advantage in raw votes is nearly 32,000 votes. She's nearly 32,000 votes ahead in Cook. And you can see, get outside of Cook, every other county that we have vote from here. There's some bright spots for Stratton, but every other county that we have votes from, Krishnamurthy is actually leading her total by about 9,000, but she has enough of a pad from Cook. She's got a 23,000 vote, nearly 24,000 vote. Okay, it just went up again. What did we get vote from, Adam?
We just got some more Cook.
Okay. That's the big one, right?
Sorry, we just got more Chicago.
Okay. Well, I mean, clearly it was good for Stratton. How good was it? What did it look like?
So we're up to 220,000 votes. We got another,
oh, geez, this thing.
30,000 votes, let's say.
Yeah, so we're equal now, basically, suburbs and...
That's right.
Okay, this is a key moment. Okay, we're equal between them. Give me Cook. What does it stand at?
Chicago is 43% Stratton.
Yep.
24% Krishnamurthy.
24. So he's dropped one from the last time. Okay, and Kelly?
And Kelly's at 24.
24. Who has more votes between them?
Krishnamurthy, but
by like hundreds?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. They're basically tied for second now. Okay. And then in the suburbs are the same we had
79%.
before.
Yes, that's
37.
Right. That's
36.
Right. Closing the gap.
What was it? 20.
Point
yes.
by point.
Yeah. And they're now equal.
God, if this turned into another like Nida Alum situation, my heart can't handle it. Robert Peters is getting cleaned out too, which is not good. What about Junaid Ahmed? Oh yeah, remember, these vote counts are not absolute. Yes. They said it already. Chicago has Illinois has a very weird reporting system. So that's the reason why these things can change. I gave you guys a warning ahead of time. Remember? Biz looking strong in Illinois 9. I see why the apex spin was that it was just trying to keep Albert Zellick out if it wanted Laura Fine. So far, the only candidate is beaten up by CryptoPac, but leading our Stratton, and then Ford in Illinois 7 very narrowly. Those are the marquee races. Also keep an eye on Illinois 13. It tests how much safe seat Harris plus 10 scandal-free incumbent Dems are vulnerable to progressive challengers. Very little in so far, but those polls suggested Stratton up in the early votes seem right, narrowly ahead of St. Clair. Raja gets 53% in Kane County, part of which is in his 8th district. Are political ads really that impactful? This is the Democratic Party primary. Of course, ad spend is very impactful, very important.
Clearly for Fine, whose political base is in the suburbs. Again, she's a state senator from Glenview, from Evanston. Biss's base is in Evanston too, which is in that suburban portion of Cook here. Fine is clearly.
I honestly don't think Kat would have won if AIPAC didn't dump money into slandering her. I mean, Biss is a tough candidate to beat for sure. When Kat first started running, she was running against Schakowsky. And then Schakowsky dropped out, and then Daniel Biss came in. So it's a tough race to begin with. Daniel Biss is a beloved mayor from Evanston. He's like somewhat progressive. He's like considered somewhat progressive. You know? It is what it is.
Okay.
Yes, a little bit spilled into this race while you were talking.
I see. What can you give me the current? I see we got 78% of the vote right here.
That's right.
And we're looking at a 4,100 vote difference. What do the suburbs look like right now?
34 Biss, 19 Abu Ghazala, 20. And 25.
Oh, is it still 50,000?
Yeah, it was only a few thousand in this particular congressional district.
Okay. So again, there's more to come here. One thing that we're seeing is there's more.
The Democratic Party's Progressive Caucus has been rat fucking every anti-Israel candidate this time. They did it with Valerie Foushee in North Carolina. They did it with Daniel Biss. Like, obviously, the Progressive Caucus is not going to fucking back Kat Abu Ghazala over Daniel Biss. Like, that kind of makes sense. But it is annoying that they literally endorse they endorse some of the most like liberal Zionist candidates. No idea what's going to happen in Illinois tonight, but I think we can safely say that almost $100 million spent in a handful of primaries is a full spectrum disaster for democracy.
Probably they're going to add up to 10% of the vote right here. And as you're getting outside the city of Chicago, we just got some lake.
It's just so crazy that we literally we give unlimited money to the nation state of Israel so they can do a genocide. And we cover all their defenses so they can then turn around and just like fund whatever fucking race they want to. I mean, it's Americans that are technically funding AIPAC, but like they just spend so much money undermining American democracy. It's crazy, dude. The foreign countries, the foreign countries advocacy group, like lobbying arm, is quite literally cooking American democracy on a daily fucking basis. And liberals don't have shit to say about it because as long as they maintain like somewhat of a pro-Israel position, given how the left flank candidates are oftentimes also anti-Israel, it's fine. So Democrats don't say shit about it either. Democrats also rely on numerous advocacy groups and PACs that fund their races. Thankfully, AOC and Bernie are here to legitimize liberal Zionism. I mean, it doesn't even fucking... none of it fucking matters, dude.
Okay, can we just... Let's get an update on that right now.
Yep.
Chicago versus the burbs.
So in Chicago, Abu Ghazala at 34, Biss 24, Fine 13, Cook suburbs, Biss 34, Abu Ghazala 19, Fine 25.
Okay, so what's the rough number of total votes?
Holy shit. You can't tell me AIPAC doesn't matter here. Chat, come on. Elect Progressive Women was an AIPAC subsidiary. They obviously pummeled the fucking suburbs with ads. And that ate away at like what Kat Abu Ghazala could have potentially gotten in terms of votes. And the suburbs went so heavily to fucking Laura Fine. Like, that's it. That you think AIPAC doesn't fucking matter here, or AIPAC expenditure wouldn't have AIPAC, if they weren't spending so much money on this race, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, that's
for
ridiculous. They
Abu Ghazali
spent
to
like
get a little
$5
bit
million.
more out of the city of Chicago.
Nobody
But
wastes.
you just saw Biss
Nobody fucking wastes $5 million for no reason. Abu Ghazali is getting crushed in Cook and Lake County suburbs. Evidence that Mamdani-style leftism only has purchase in deep blue cities and college towns. Yeah, see? These fucking scumbags. These Israel first scumbags are already fucking running their mouths. This is why. And then this is a threat to every single other progressive candidate as well.
Okay, so this is
Every single primary defeat against the anti-Israel candidate is a warning for everybody else. That's how they get Democrats to shut the fuck up and not do the bidding of the majority. Okay? And yeah, no matter how many fucking podcasters push for a candidate, it very clearly doesn't matter. Also, this Daniel Biss photo looks so weird. Doesn't it look like he's got makeup on? Anyway. Yeah, AIPAC and their shell pack spent $21 million across 4 House districts in Illinois. $21 million. You think they're doing that for no reason? What are you, crazy? I think she's likely to net around 3,000 more votes out of Chicago based on my math. I think she's going to end up 2 to 3 points short.
2/3 of the vote here in the 2nd district.
Yeah.
This is where Jesse Jackson Jr. is attempting a political comeback. He's running at 29%. Donna Miller, Cook County Commissioner, is well ahead of him right now. I just want to see where the vote is coming from. We've got about three-quarters of Cook. About three-quarters of Cook. Adam, can you just tell me in Illinois too, between the Cook suburbs and the city, where they are in terms of expected vote?
Yeah, this is much more in the burbs right now.
Okay.
We have 43,000 votes in the Chicago suburbs.
Right.
That's about 90% of our expected vote there currently.
Right.
And we have 7,000 votes in the city, and that's about a third of our expected.
Okay, so just this is, I want to get back to the Senate race because I think people are probably most curious about that, but I just want to note, you see Donna Miller with that double-digit advantage over Jesse Jackson Jr. The suburban
people
portion
complaining
of Cook
about
County, that is
Bushra
where her
don't
county
understand, like,
district is.
look,
So
man,
this is the
there is no
Miller
guarantee that those
area
people would have
is
voted for Kat.
disproportionately
And also,
reporting here.
once
This is
again,
where
you
she was
can't, like,
expected to do well. This is where she
it sucks,
wanted
but
to
you
do well,
can't
where she needed
expect
to do
them
well,
to
where she
drop out.
is doing well, but we still have more to come, a lot more to come, relatively speaking, from the city of Chicago. That could be Jesse Jackson Jr. He could do better there, potentially. Also,
What is
Robert
this?
Peters, that's where his state Senate district is. So there could still be an opportunity for Jackson, but Miller's certainly getting what she wanted to out of there. Let's go back to the statewide race here, the Senate primary. About half the vote is in right now.
It
And
doesn't
again,
look
we
good.
just got another
It does
update
not
here.
look good
Okay, so this is
for
now
Kat
an
Abu-Ghazali.
advantage here of about 32,000 votes, 5 points for
Stop
Stratton over
fucking
Christian
complaining
Morphy.
and being like, oh, well,
And we now have
you know,
one of the other
Booster should have
Colorado
dropped out.
counties
She didn't,
reporting.
okay? There's
Okay,
nothing you can
Lake
do about
County
it.
Here. And again, about half the vote in Lake County. And again, you're seeing, so Krishnamurthy, we see
How
it
is
in Lake
Tallarico
County.
able to beat
We see it
AIPAC
in
Crockett
Kane
by a
County.
wide
This is
margin in
part of his
Texas?
congressional district. He's
Tallarico
really
and
doing well
Crockett's
there. We see
sentiment
it in
on
Will County.
on
Okay,
Israel
Will
were
County, you know, about
not
an
super
8-point
far
margin
apart.
there for Krishnamurthy. In the collar counties, the suburbs here, Chicagoland area,
Tallarico was
Krishnamurthy
better
is
at communicating
running ahead of Stratton.
from a
But
place of
Stratton
empathy
is
over Jasmine
competitive,
Crockett,
right?
but
35%
both were
in Will,
on the policy
okay?
front. They were
Yeah,
fairly
here,
close.
Not in her district, not so much.
Tallarico is not
Lake
very good
County,
on Israel either.
35%. It's a solid enough share of the vote when
Also,
this
AIPAC
is happening
doesn't
in Cook
fund
County.
all of the
When in
races.
Cook County, with
I don't know
now
how much
almost
money
three-quarters
AIPAC
of the
dumped
vote
into
in, you are
the
getting 39%
Democratic
of the vote,
primaries.
lead by over 46,000 votes in Cook County. That's about what you need to be doing elsewhere. So, and I'm just I'm looking to see if we've got any other major population centers. I'm just, okay, one thing is, one significant place that has not, is not lit up yet right now.
Blackpilling type of
would
night?
be
No,
right here.
I don't think this is a
Champaign,
blackpilling type of night at all.
University of
29
Illinois,
precincts left in
Urbana,
Chicago out of
Champaign.
111
And I think
or
just what we're
119.
seeing in this
Chicago
pattern
peeps
here,
will have to tell me if there's a
you're
way to
seeing
figure out
Stratton
exactly
running
which
this
ones
well
are
in
still
McLean
out. I'm
County.
in
I
PA.
think she's going to be
In
running
PA,
very
I'm
well
able to go precinct
in
by
Champaign
precinct.
County. You know, this is Illinois State. There's a lot of similarities, I think, demographically, culturally between these places. And I think the fact that Stratton was able to run well here in McLean, the fact she was able to run well here in Sangamon County, I think bodes well for her. And this is, relatively speaking, when you get outside Chicago, fair number of votes right here. So that's a place where she might be able to do quite well. But let's get back in here to Cook County at 72% of the vote. And maybe we can run through it quickly here. Just this is the kind of is the ball game. City of Chicago versus burbs. And go ahead, Adam. What is it in Chicago?
Chicago, 43% for Stratton.
Yeah.
24 for Krishnamurthy.
Yeah.
And in the burbs, 36 for Stratton.
Yeah.
36 for Krishnamurthy.
36. And let me put it this way. What percent of the vote is in from the Chicago portion?
Do you feel disappointed in Bernie and AOC's lack of endorsement in this race? They did. They made endorsements. Bernie did. But it doesn't even matter. They didn't do it early enough. And not only did they not do it early enough, their candidates are also losing, and by worse points, as a matter of fact. Like, the candidates that Bernie endorsed were late. They were late endorsements, and not only were they late endorsements, but they're also losing by wider margins. Like Junaid Ahmed is losing by a wider margin than Kat Al-Ghazali is. Bernie endorsed Biss in Illinois 9, which blows. Oh, he did? I didn't even know he endorsed Biss. Are you sure about that? Did he? I did not know that. I don't think he did. I think you're just saying that, but I don't think he did. He sat out and AOC didn't endorse this one. So AOC could have endorsed someone in this race, but she didn't put her weight behind anybody because this is a House race, but there is no incumbent. So AOC could have actually endorsed someone in this race because it's an empty seat, but she didn't. Bernie endorsed Biss for governor against Pritzker in 2016. Chatter is tripping. Oh. Biss lands major progressive groups endorsement. Our Revolution, Illinois grassroots coalition boasting more than 250,000 members gave Biss his support ahead of the Democratic primary in 2018. That's what chatters might be referencing. Who knows? Oh. Yeah, 7 points behind Melissa L. Bean here in Illinois 8. Elizabeth Warren endorsed Daniel Biss. I know that. Do you think Bernie or AOC endorsement would have helped? Yes. Of course. Bernie and AOC endorsements always help. Greg Kazar endorsed Daniel Biss, yes. And the Congressional Progressive Caucus endorsed Daniel Biss. Which is part of the reason why this is like a tremendous feat. You know? No-name candidate. First time running. With, 5% point differential between an established progressive name that has gotten coveted endorsements from progressive groups in the past, and in this race, as the one with the highest name recognition, got a shit ton of endorsements from even progressive adjacent, self-described progressive groups within the party. And also Jen Schakowsky also endorsed them a couple days prior, who was the incumbent. Yeah, Daniel Biss is the guy who literally dropped his lieutenant governor. Biss dropped Chicago Alderman Carlos Ramirez Rosa from his ticket. And Biss himself at the time was like kind of a bit of a progressive love story. People thought Biss was going to be like a really unique, really dynamic candidate. But then he dropped Carlos Ramirez Rosa. And the reason why Carlos Ramirez Rosa was dropped was because of his position on Israel. Biss, a state senator from suburban Evanston, made the announcement on Wednesday saying the two could not reconcile Rose's support for BDS or the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement with regards to Israel. Blowback from the issue was already affecting the other Illinois races in support for Biss. Brad Schneider withdrew his endorsement of Biss in the gubernatorial primary. This is back, this is 2017. This was like, I remember covering this story at the time. Like, it was unfucking believable. If you go back, you'll find probably my tweets, at least from back then. But it was unbelievable that Israel interfered in the gubernatorial primaries. Israel interfered in the gubernatorial primaries in fucking Illinois because the lieutenant governor's positions were untenable to their goals in American politics. Like that, this is the degree of interception and interference that pro-Palestine advocates have been dealing with for decades in this fucking country. That's why it takes a lot for me to get truly black-pilled in this moment. Okay? That's why I'm still not black-pilled in this moment. Because many of you are utterly oblivious to how things used to be in American politics. Okay? This is what I'm used to. I'm used to Israel interfering in the lieutenant governor pick in the Democratic fucking primaries of the gubernatorial race. Do you understand? How can I be fucking black-pilled when in this day and age, all of those very same people are now saying, oh, I would never take money from Israel. What do you mean? I would never take money from Israel. They feel the need to at least lie about their affiliations with the state of Israel. And yeah, Schakowsky was already a progressive liberal, so Biss will most likely be more of the same. Not a brave voice on foreign policy, but will vote for M4A type stuff. Yes. Schakowsky was really old, but she was one of the more progressive congresspersons in general. I thought that there was a real room here for growth and a real opportunity to make a true anti-Israel play, but it didn't work out, it seems. Kat is so young and have almost no name recognition. AIPAC still had to throw millions at the race to stop her. Her future was incredibly bright. I mean, yeah. How do you live without dark money? Seems like you don't. But yeah.
She's leading by 12. We checked in earlier. I think this has gotten a little closer, I think, since we first checked in, but my memory isn't what it used to be here, but about 60% of the vote in Kane County. And then we're waiting on DuPage. I just said DuPage County. We're waiting on...
Maybe she can improve her foreign policies. Oh, shut the fuck up, dude. Her foreign policy is utterly irrelevant in this race. Please stop. Things that become drama in the tiny, marginal, utterly irrelevant fucking corner of the internet that we occupy is not a part of the decision-making process of like Evanston voters and fucking Illinois suburbanites. Okay? You're just wrong. You're wrong. You're totally wrong. It doesn't mean anything at all. Like if I were to hold together every single person that voted in the primaries, I could maybe find 10 total people who all most likely voted for Kat Abou-Ghazaleh that have heard about her positions on fucking first striking China or something. Like you guys don't understand. Normies don't give a fuck about this stuff. If anything, they probably would like it when they were like, oh yeah, it's like defending Taiwan. I think that's a good idea. Like, you have no idea what the average voter is interested in and what the average voter is tuned into. You know who does, though? Motherfucking Israel. That's precisely the reason why, if you look at all their ads, like in the Malinowski race in North Carolina, they were laser focused on ICE. They were laser focused on how Tom Malinowski was not sufficiently anti-ICE in an anti-ICE race. And that's why Tom Malinowski lost to Ana Lilia Mejia, who rose to prominence as the pro-ICE, or as a true anti-ICE candidate, sorry. Or not North Carolina, sorry, New Jersey. Fuck, my brain is fried, sorry. They found 14,000 extra Chicago votes. Okay, I voted for Biz, but the primary is between an incestual Kennedy, a billionaire, or Bernie endorsed candidate. We got lucky with JB. Oh, you're talking about in the gubernatorial race. In the Illinois gubernatorial race, right? That's what you're talking about, Hapahan. As someone in Chicago, not in Illinois 9, I honestly don't feel like she has a chance. Her campaign is propped up by a national audience outside of her district. That's you, other chat, saying you're not Illinois 9. Yeah, I don't think this person is in Illinois 9. I think they're in Illinois and they voted for Biss for governor. He's saying he voted for Biss for governor, not for Biss in the primaries that are happening right now. They're not in Illinois 9. They're in Illinois. On the ground at Kat's campaign event, as results for Illinois 9 show, Albuquerque trailing Biss by nearly 5K. Supporters are nervous, with one saying he's not feeling good by the results and noted that so many candidates were splitting the votes. Meanwhile, on the ground, one group said they were still remaining optimistic and hopeful. Politics, you would have to be mad to pay attention to it, but you are foolish if you don't. Do you know what Biss was running on? Boilerplate progressivism, kind of critical of Israel, but not necessary, but like critical enough for the suburbs to pay attention to and like, but not so critical that it actually genuinely threatens Israel's position in Congress at all. Like, Daniel Biss will be another one of these guys that will vote along with the pack and will, make his condemnations about anti-Semitism whenever a Democrat actually speaks out of turn about like how this is, Israel's war that we're waging. He'll vote for defensive weapons for Israel. I think he's more progressive than Schakowsky, but he's not. He's more progressive than Schakowsky, but like they will be the middle of the pack, closer to the top as far as like, progressive candidates. I believe he refused to call what Israel was doing a genocide. It's just, he's just going to be another one of these like bullshit ass progressive candidates. Give Jan Schakowsky some credit, Hasan. She wasn't bad at all. No, I'm not saying that. I say Schakowsky was one of the more progressive congresspersons, especially unique because she was like 850 years old. Okay. No, not like AOC. AOC is far more progressive than Schakowsky. What are you talking about? This is also the most Jewish district. That doesn't mean anything. The youth vote. She's 22 on the spreadsheet. What is this? Is this like the I can't, it's not loading for me. Congressional Democrat left tracker. It's not letting me load it up. I work with Jan. She's a very lovely woman and beloved here in Illinois. Her endorsement meant a lot. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, the story, of course, of tonight is that AIPAC didn't spend a single dollar on ads about Israel in these races, but if their candidate wins, they will say it was because voters love Israel. Everybody also knows it's bullshit, but it doesn't matter. But if you're constantly confused as to why, like, the overwhelming majority of the population is anti-Israel and the overwhelming majority of politicians are not, this is the reason. Okay? This is the fucking reason. This is how it works. They go into your race and they dump a fuckload. They literally prop up as primary challengers and they dump a fuckload in their direction, or they literally come after you with attack ads. They undermine you. They undermine your reelection. They undermine your election. And Democrats see that and they get fucking terrified. So next time someone from the Israel advocacy networks calls them to tell them, don't say anything about Israel, they listen. This is how it fucking works. Okay? Oh my God. Natasha Korecki, win or lose tonight, Kat Abu-Ghazali still faces federal indictment. Not familiar with the other candidates other than Kat. What are the major differences between Fine and Biz? No, Fine is fucking awful. Fine is directly backed by AIPAC. Biz courted AIPAC, like sent his policy papers to AIPAC, and AIPAC was like, no, you're fucking too much of a liberal Zionist. That's not going to happen. Because he is. But like, I mean, Biz is a fine, run-of-the-mill progressive liberal. The only reason why I was pushing for Kat in this race is because Kat is anti-Zionist. Biz is not. Do you understand? Kat is anti-Zionist. Biz is more like a Brad Lander type. And Donna Miller cleaned house. DMFI, Democratic Majority of Israel's Donna Miller defeated Jesse Jackson Jr. in Illinois too. So that was actually a big-ass win for Israel. That one was an actual win for Israel. And this is also another win, most likely for Israel as well. They fucking cooked. AIPAC candidates, Laura Fine is not going to make it in Illinois 9, but on Illinois 7, Melissa Conyers Irvin is down, Melissa Bean is leading, and Donna Miller won in Illinois 2. Yeah, this is only 20 precincts left to report in Chicago, Illinois 9. 83% of precincts have already reported there. The door is closing for Kat. It doesn't look too good. Junaid can win. Look at Illinois 18. It's not looking great for him either. But we'll see. I don't know. Maybe there's a sliver of hope here. I think there's still a story on how AIPAC is very vocally interfering with elections and that will resonate with voters who are tuned in. No, it won't. You want to know why? Because AIPAC has fucking destroyed in the Democratic primaries already candidates that were wonderful. Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman. AIPAC has done this so many fucking times. And guess what? it seems they still got the motion. It's virtually impossible to fucking overcome the Israeli triangulation in American elections, especially when they dump Senate-run levels of money into a fucking Democratic House primary, dude. Like, it's just an unlimited money faucet. They're fucking insane. That's the real story. The real story is they dumped $21 million into fucking 4 House Democratic primaries. 4. Where do we go from here? You know, it's just so unbelievable how undemocratic this shit is. Not a word of Israel was mentioned in any of these fucking races too, but they know where to make the biggest impact. AIPAC is so hating they started endorsing their opponents so they'd lose. They dump money into Dem primaries, and if they lose, they dump it into the GOP candidate against them for the general. Yes, that's how it goes. NBC calls Illinois 2 for Donna Miller over Jesse Jackson Jr. and Robert Peters. Miller, the pro-Israel candidate, winning 41% of the vote. Robert Peters, the anti-Israel candidate, in 4th place with over 11% of the vote. Social media isn't real life. See, this is why they do it. They spend tens of millions of dollars on these races. Everybody fucking hates Israel, okay? But it doesn't matter. They can just go, see, the pro-Israel candidate won. Oh, really? Were they running as a pro-Israel candidate? No, they weren't. You were just dumping tens of millions of dollars in ad spend without actually fucking, they are right. No, they're not. We will never win. They are right. Man, shut your bitch ass up, dumbass, stupid ass, baby ass, loser. Fucking comes in here, learns about Israel literally last week, has incredibly fucking radical opinions about it, and immediately the first sign of fucking marginal defeat, you can't even interpret the situation, that's the landscape that is shifting under our fucking feet. Yeah, no shit, dude. AIPAC is one of the Israel lobby is one of the most powerful fucking institutions in this goddamn country. The fuck are you talking about? The very fact that they have to spend $20 million alone is already a profound accomplishment for the anti-Zionists that are running. You know, look up the history. I mean, fuck them, but prove your shit talk. No, it's only stupid bitches that fucking come in here and say shit like that. Defeatist ass bullshit like that. Yeah, lay down and die, I guess. You know, let them fuck democracy up the ass. That seems like a good idea. No, there is no, the idiotic assumption here is that like American politics hasn't dramatically changed. We're waging war with Iran at the behest of Israel. Americans fucking are disgusted by Israel. AIPAC doesn't even mention Israel one time in any of their fucking ad spend, and put a boatload of money into all of these fucking races, only to turn around and have their media outlets like Jewish Insider, right, make this seem like a massive dub. And then the exact same thing will be channeled by CNN too. Jake Tapper will go on television and not talk about the fact that $21 million is unconscionable in the Democratic Party primaries, but instead will turn around. What? Can you explain the AIPAC funding source again? You touched on it briefly, but didn't fully grasp it. Is it literally just the subsidies we send to Israel? No, it's not. It's just like a lot of fucking rich Americans, okay? It's a lot of rich Americans that are singularly focused on making sure that America's aligned with Israel unconditionally, and they give tens of fucking billions of dollars, unlimited money to AIPAC. And then AIPAC turns around and just fucking opens up the goddamn money faucet. Yeah. Yeah, bipartisanship or Republican meddling. AIPAC's biggest source of GOP donations in Dem primaries. Yeah, donors from the Republican Party will flood in unlimited funds to pro-Israel candidates by way of AIPAC. And then when the pro-Israel candidates don't win, they dump unlimited funds to the Republican in the general. Yeah, Israel has become so toxic among Democratic voters that AIPAC is now operating clandestinely. AIPAC, the pro-Israel group, becomes a major issue in the Democratic House races. Several groups with ties to the pro-Israel group have spent at least $20 million in 4 primaries. They can't even run as a fucking openly pro-Israel PAC. And you guys are over here being like, it's over, it's lost. No, they have to do this clandestine bullshit because Israel is that fucking toxic. Go ahead. Keep fucking democracy. Keep fucking democracy. Eventually, the people will revolt. That's it. What are you going to do? Put us all in fucking jail? You're going to dump every American that hates Israel in jail? Good luck. Eventually, it's going to get to a point where this contradiction is going to be impossible to contend with. I think we're close to it right now, which is part of the reason why they have to do all of this crazy nonsense and reroute. Yeah. Site Donna for Congress, Israel. AIPAC scores a surprise win in Illinois, too, as Donna Miller takes down former Representative Jesse Jackson Jr. Donna Miller didn't bring up Israel at all. So why is that a victory for Israel? Israel is openly saying, we're fucking your democracy, okay? They want candidates to do loyalty pledges in private to Israel. It's fine even if they don't come out and publicly say anything about Israel. As long as that vote remains, as long as they are a reliable pro-Israel vote, they're fine with it. And now Donna Miller will be another reliable Israel vote. And people will consistently come in here and go, Hasan, I don't understand it. Hasan, this doesn't make any sense. Everyone I know hates Israel. Why is my Democratic Party that I voted for my whole life voting for Israel? Why are they not doing enough opposition towards the Republicans that are seemingly moving this country in the direction of war with Iran, specifically at the behest of Israel? Why is that the case? This is how it works. I've been at this game for a decade plus at this point, okay? I've been at this game for a decade plus. It is what it is. Like, remember how things used to look like in this chat after October 7? And remember how much things have changed. Okay? Like, this used to be the most common thing that I heard in this chat. Hasan is a terrorist sympathizer. Thousands and thousands and thousands of messages like that one flooded in here every single day. Now, if this person actually went out in public and was like, dude, I think Israel is the best country on the planet, and all of the people who oppose Israel are terrorist sympathizers, they would beat him with hammers. Okay? They would kill him. If he were to say shit like this in public, people would be like, fuck off. He knows that. That's why he can only get away with it right here. That's why he can only get away with this shit. Because we've won. Because we align with the truth. We've won the public conversation. Spokesperson for the Abu Ghazali campaign tells me that they're still very much in this and the campaign is still waiting for more results to come in. I mean, it's most likely not going to happen. But do you understand? Find a perfectly good on paper candidate who got filleted over her APAC assist. First candidate this year who you can argue lost over that issue. She lost. Better just say something while people are paying attention. Say Senator Laura Fan's campaign tells Evanston's Now Jeff Hirsch that the Glenview state senator will not be making any statement tonight. She's lost. Better say something while people are paying attention. Illinois 7 looks insane. The vote splitting among progressives. Dude, I don't even want to know what happened here. Ford had the retiring Danny K. Davis's endorsement, the progressive endorsement, still in danger zone thanks to the big PAC spending for Conyers Irvin and weaker progressives splitting the vote. I don't even understand what the fuck took place here, dude. We need ranked choice voting right now. It'll never happen because Democrats know they'll never win another race ever again. If there's ranked choice voting, literally the most leftist candidates will win every single fucking race. Democrats know that, which is why they will never allow it. It's never going to happen. But, you know, ranked choice voting would have delivered this victory most. Actually, I don't know. With Illinois 9, I don't know. You could have had a lot of fine voters go to BIS as well. It's not looking great for Junaid right now, but I'm hoping for him. He needs to win against the DMFI candidate. Yeah. Exclusive. A group of billionaire and business titans held a Zoom video call on April 26th with Mayor Eric Adams, pressing him on the send police. Titled Israel Current Events, the chat eventually expanded to about 100 members. The chat log shows more than a dozen members of the group appear on Forbes' annual list of billionaires. Others work in real estate, finance, and communications. The chat includes former CEO of Starbucks Howard Schultz, Dell founder, CEO Michael Dell, hedge fund manager Bill Ackman, and Joshua Kushner, founder of Thrive Capital and brother to Jared Kushner. So is Cat done? I mean, it looks like it, yeah. Blame game already started. Special fuck you to Bushra Amawala, Senator Mike Simmons, and Bankilo Yasmin for putting your own egos in the good of our country. You deserve to be blacklisted from politics. I mean, it's not going to happen. Everyone needs to fucking calm down. Okay? But yes, that is a problem. It's a totally fucking crowded. Congratulations to Rep. Delia Ramirez for securing the Democratic nomination in Illinois 3rd. Posters need to fucking calm down. You think people are going to be rational about this? No, I don't think so. I think a lot of people a lot of people are not used to taking L's, and being a leftist is about taking L's gracefully and learning from those lessons and adapting, okay? I think a lot of people got it in their minds that like the real democratic process thrives in this fucking dumbass country, and they're wrong and stupid for thinking that. You just have to literally be super careful all the time. You can't make any mistakes. And it'll take time for you guys to understand. Unfortunately, for many people, they'll get black-pilled from this experience and they'll go, oh, it's over. I'm done. Right? It's over. I don't believe in democracy anymore. And it's like, you're going to have to get used to this. Okay? You're going to have to get used to failure. Failure after failure after failure. Yeah, DSA was functionally non-existent 10 years ago. It was like comprised entirely of 85-year-olds. Why are you guys so in love with electoral democracy? Who the fuck cares if Kat wins? She wasn't going to tear down bourgeois democracy. You guys are pissed. Take up arms and take over your police station. Okay, dude. Shut the fuck up. Dumbass. It's not. It's not about overtaking bourgeois democracy through the electoral process. That's never going to happen. But it is about building a movement or actively trying to move the country and its politics move the country's politics in a much better direction. Paul Noley for securing a Democratic nomination in Illinois 16th congressional district, standing against genocide is a good policy and good politics. Mike from PA says, 4 years ago, a candidate like Biss winning would have been a sign of the left rising. The fact that he's being challenged by someone to his left so closely, even after tens of millions of dollars being spent in the race, is insane. Yeah. It's true. That's absolutely correct. I think for a lot of people, the issue is every leftist and progressive and their brother is running in all these limited urban and suburban primaries when they should try to run in ex-urban districts and bring these politics to rural USA or working out who runs in that district and secure support. I agree. H. Bizzle, a lot of these people aren't old like you are. Okay? You're an old ass. Okay? So you understand what American politics used to look like for the working class not that fucking long ago. A lot of you are young or only recently started paying attention to this kind of politics. So for you, this is like a devastating defeat. You don't have the capacity to understand how unimaginable of a change that has taken place in American politics, where you can have a Palestinian 26-year-old run and almost unseat a established, relatively progressive guy like Biss. It's just not even a question. Zoran's got everyone's hopes too high. Cat is not the candidate Zoran was. And Illinois 9 is not the constituency NYC is. No, that's not. Everyone needs to stop thinking this is going to be like Zoran. There was things in this race that made it a lot easier than Zoran's race. And obviously no one has the same fucking ground game that New York DSA has. Y'all are being crazy. Working Families Party and DSA New York City were able to basically dominate the ground game. No one else comes anywhere near that. Brad Lander has something to say about AIPAC's influence. Tens of millions of dollars in super PAC money flowed into Illinois primary race, crypto, AI, and dark money PACs that hide where the money came from. AIPAC spent $22 million through shell PACs and never even talked about Israel. Sadly, we're going to see it in our primaries as well. My opponents support AIPAC money. I don't. Dark money erodes public trust in our democratic process. That's why I passed the strongest local law in the country, so donors have to sign their names on IEs in New York City. It's time to get dark money out of politics. Even if Cat doesn't win, Apex fall will come through them, having to dump millions into every race in order to keep their candidates in play while smaller races go towards true left candidates. No, APAC has unlimited funds. It's just a matter of who they fucking focus on. Zoran ran through DSA. Cat didn't. That was a difference that was maybe needed. We need to be aware of going forward. No, you're also thinking that New York DSA's operations are similar to any other DSA around the country. That's not the case. Come on, you know that better than anybody else. New York DSA is a different demon with 14,000 members now at this point. Unfortunately, the other DSAs around the country are nowhere near at the same level of seriousness, including our own DSA in our own backyard, DSA LA, right? Chicago DSA is fairly prominent, but it's not the same, you know? It's not. I mean, Chicago DSA initially, if I'm not mistaken, well, I don't know if they actually endorsed Brandon Johnson, but Brandon Johnson was a DSA candidate. Like, I mean, was in the DSA. Chicago isn't that bad. They can make a difference. They got those members by running races. You want to fix LA DSA? We need to recruit candidates. Yeah. Chicago DSA did not endorse Brandon. Concession in Illinois 7. Melissa Conyers Irvin has conceded to LaShawn Ford in Illinois 7, a defeat for AIPAC, which puts millions behind Conyers Irvin. She got even protested over it. The real issue is there is no equivalent to like conservative movement, which focused on organizing everywhere. So they had infrastructure all over the GOP. DSA is clustered in cities way too much. They don't work strategically nationally. Need CPC to actually do this. Pfft, the CPC is not going to do shit. Okay. I'm sorry. The CPC fucking sucks. Okay. Unless you're talking about the Communist Party of China. And I know you're not talking about the Communist Party of China. I know you're talking about the Congressional Progressive Caucus, and it fucking sucks. Sorry. It fucking sucks. And I say this as someone who actively wanted Greg Kazar to be the fucking leader of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, which he did become. They've been so fucking weak. Make it not suck. What am I? I'm not a fucking elected. What can I do? What can I fucking do? I can't do shit. My guy became the leader of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, and ever since then, he has been absolutely dog water. He endorsed BIS, and the CPC already has a policy of endorsing incumbents, even if the incumbents are fucking dog shit, like Valerie Foushee. Valerie Foushee in North Carolina was terrible. The Congressional Progressive Caucus endorsed Valerie Foushee, the 87-year-old pro-Israel congressperson. What the fuck is the Congressional Progressive Caucus good for? Time for New York DSA to get serious. What happened in Illinois can happen here. Yes, 100%. To be fair, she's 69 and she ran on criticizing Israel because it's so unpopular. Yeah, okay, she's 69 years old and was pro-Israel until this last election where she had to literally flip her positions. And then in a panic state, Hakeem Jeffries took a bunch of AIPAC donations and hid it under subsidiaries so that they could still funnel money into Valerie Foushee directly from pro-Israel groups. I know, it's fucking insane. It's insane how indecent and how undemocratic the Democratic Party actually fucking is. When you learn about how fucked up this process is, it's very difficult to still to still believe that we will ever achieve anything through electoralism. That's why my goal through electoralism is not necessarily to make the necessary changes in this country, because obviously it's not going to fucking happen that way, but more so to funnel popularity into outside organizations so we can build outside power to, one, hold politicians to account, and two, maybe even potentially build a third party down the line. The goal here is to utilize the electoral process and the weak Democratic Party to put forth candidates. That will be closer to your vision. Since Congressional Progressive Caucus and AOC will not endorse non-incumbents as a consequence of their roles, there needs to be more outside power. Bernie's the only one who crosses that line usually, and even he doesn't do it for everybody. You could run, but I get that you can do more here. No, I can't fucking run, dude. What are you talking about? You want me to drop everything that I'm doing and focus on one race only to probably lose that race? Because literally the opposition. Do you know how much money AIPAC would dump into any race that I ran on? Do you understand? Dog, I'm not running for office, and already every fake Jewish advocacy organization that is actually just an Israel advocacy organization tries to bully every congressperson that even remotely comes near me. Why the fuck do you think that's the case? It would be the first billion-dollar race, okay? You wouldn't be able to go anywhere without seeing how much of a fucking evil villain I am. Hasan Piker murders dogs for fun. Hasan Piker has only sex with underage people. That's what the AIPAC attack ads would say. Just complete bullshit, but it doesn't matter. AI galore. Hasan Piker is a fan of Al Qaeda. Anyway, just make a new one. Congressional Caucus of Progressive, CCP to the CPC. And then if I actually did end up winning that race, I would just get assassinated. I'll be honest.